Mike, we're rolling.
Ian.
Hey, Mike, I'm back.
Hi, Ian. Ian's here. You know what that means? It's welcome to another BRZ or That, the segment where you choose whether to go with the most hyped sports car in the history of sports cars. That is the Subaru BRZ and its Toyota counterparts, or whether you choose that, and naturally that is a used sports car for around the same money or thereabouts. It's BRZ or That today on After Drive with Ian motherfucking Whalen. So Ian, BRZ or That, do you have any news? You haven't been on the couch in a while.
I haven't, but since I've been here, the Saab 9.3 Vigan is gone, unfortunately.
Gone.
Or fortunately, I guess, depends on how you look at it.
It's really funny that you sold that thing, because you're Mr. Saab, and Mr. Saab,
Yeah.
You're known for being a Saab guy.
I've always had Saabs since I started driving,
Yeah.
and it's kind of the end of an era.
So you're looking to, but you didn't buy a BRZ.
I didn't buy a BRZ. I haven't bought anything yet. First time I've actually been carless since I started driving.
Who's Carlos? All right, sorry.
Carlos
Dumb.
and Jackal.
But all right, so today on BRZ or That, you didn't buy a BRZ, but we are talking about a car that's kind of like the Saab in that it's a unique car that you don't see around a whole lot,
Yeah.
but it's a car that enthusiasts are really into. Today in this corner, it's the BRZ or FRS or GT86, a car that's gotten more good press than a basket of kittens. And in the other corner, it's the Lotus Elise. God, why am I yelling? It's the Lotus Elise.
You're like that boxing guy
Like
in this corner, in that corner.
This corner, that corner, whatever corner. It's a car that we've all considered one time or another, but didn't buy, of course. But BRZ or That is fictional, and you won't see either of these cars on our little cable access show set from the 1970s. So you have to use your imagination, and if you're good, Chris Harris maybe will drive them sideways someday.
I think he's already driven the BRZ sideways,
He
actually.
did. He actually did. Yeah, I'll put that link in somewhere.
All right.
He did not. Well, I'm sure he's driven an Elise.
He must have driven these. I'm sure
He's
he's
on
driven,
the right
just
side of
not
the
on
pond.
not on our channel.
Yeah, right, on our little neck of the woods. Anyway, so Lotus Elise. The reason why we're talking about it is it's around the same price, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, let's go to the specs. So Subaru BRZ, you guys know pretty well by now.
Yeah.
We're talking about the Series 2 Elise because we didn't get the Series 1 in the States, and also we didn't get a lot of the special editions that the UK gets. We did get the supercharged version, but as far as price goes,
This is more comparable.
this is the comparable one,
Yeah.
right? Okay, so 1.8 liter Toyota out of the Celica GTS, a pretty standard engine, 189 horsepower, 133 pounds-feet, and 0 to 60.
Look at that.
4.9 seconds.
It's a big difference from 7 seconds
Yeah.
on the BRZ. And
It's interesting because the BRZ, the only controversy with the BRZ is that Motor Trend got 6.4 and everybody else got in the 7s. Like
Yeah.
either 7, as Edmunds got 7 rolling out and 7.2 from a dead stop.
maybe they had this special journalist edition of the car
Well,
that's specially tuned.
That's a good point because Motor Trend says they didn't have to shift from 3rd to 4th
Yeah.
because they didn't hit the rev limiter. Everybody else says they hit the rev limiter in 3rd and had to shift to 4th, and that's why they lost a couple of tenths of a second. So I don't know. Maybe it is the
I don't know.
journalist.
But either way, it doesn't even matter. Even if we were at 6.4, it's
still
a
slow.
very big difference.
Still a lot slower. And here's the reason, right?
Yeah,
So you're
the
under
key is
2,000
the
pounds.
weight.
Under 2,000 pounds for the Elise, 2,700 for the BRZ. Naturally, a lot of reasons, years have passed and a lot of regulation stuff has happened. But that's the thing. Fiberglass over aluminum. You
Right.
can't get any.
Right. Aluminum monocoque.
Right. I mean,
It's very cool.
yeah, it's cool and very simple and very light, as per Colin Chapman's Lotus ethos, right?
Right. Lots of added lightness.
Lots of adness lighted. Right? And actually, this is good because last week on After Drive we were talking about lightness being
right.
the new area of competition for
Yeah.
automakers. So anyway, all right. So pros and cons. The Elise is fucking quick.
Yeah. It's
As you just
Corvette
said.
quick.
It is Corvette quick. It's also lighter by a lot, as we've shown before. But the lighter, the lightness is a big deal, right?
Yeah.
So it's a core competency of the Lotus.
Right.
And it's a really big difference between the BRZ and the Lotus, right? So, I mean, we're not saying anything that's...
It's funny because the BRZ compared to a lot of cars, is light.
Yeah.
But then this is a whole other level of lightness.
Exactly.
Of
You're at
course,
the
this
other
car,
level.
when it was new, cost quite a bit more.
Right.
But now we get to enjoy depreciation a little bit.
That's the thing. This is a depreciation car. Looks exotic.
Yeah, I mean, look at it. It looks like nothing else on the road. It looks like a spaceship. And most people will probably think you paid a lot more for this car than 30 grand.
Right. Exactly. So Toyota engine is number 4, but what that means is running costs. So generally, if nothing goes wrong, running costs are pretty reasonable in this thing. I mean, It doesn't burn through a lot of consumables, right? I mean,
Right.
Brake pads, it's a light car. I mean,
Yeah. Might use up the tires a little, but that's kind of dependent on your driving style.
I mean, you
But
use
just
up your
for
tires.
maintenance items, you could probably get them at your local auto parts store.
Right.
Which is nice for the Toyota engine.
Exactly. Insurance is going to be a little higher, but not like exotic car high.
Yeah, it's not too bad.
It's not too bad, even in a terrible state like New York and New Jersey for insurance. I mean, you'll still be paying $80,000 a year, but
No, I have a clean record.
I don't mean you. I mean people in your state.
Right.
Right. No, I mean they were exaggerating like a lot, and of course, number 5, it's a damn Lotus.
Right. So it's got heritage.
It's got heritage, damn it,
And it's British.
and it's British
Or Malaysian.
or Malaysian.
And it's got Colin Chapman's handprints all over it.
Right. Or it's got his ethos all over.
And when you're a car guy and you say you drive a Lotus instead of a Subaru, that counts for something, right?
It does count for something.
All right.
But with pros, there are always cons. So the cons, daily driver my ass, especially if you live in the Northeast
Yeah.
and it's winter and there's salt on the roads and there are giant potholes in the spring, that'll swallow that thing.
Yeah, I don't know how well that aluminum deals with salt, oxidation. I mean, I don't know, but I think it's mostly a handling problem. And also just, if you want to drive that thing every day, if you're going on errands, you're going to be doing a lot of this over
I mean, if
the...
you're just driving to the train station, you're commuting or something, it's not too bad. But yeah, I mean, if you're taller than me, if you're your height, I mean, you're going to be like, and even my height, I mean, you got to like pull up a knee in there.
I fit fine in it once I get in it.
Yeah,
But
it's the getting
it's
in
a little
and
bit
out.
of a struggle. I'm sure you get used to
Right.
kind of the way to get any more
Obviously,
gracefully.
ergonomics of the BRZ are favorable to basically anybody. I mean,
Yeah.
I know a lot of tall people, including Jared Gall from Car and Driver, who is about 6'9" or something.
Yeah.
He's probably not that.
It's got a lot
tall,
more room
But
inside.
he said he could fit in a BRZ, so that's all right.
Cool.
Cargo space, come on. Same thing, right?
Yeah.
So groceries and a little stuff, but going away for the weekend, maybe you get a bag in there, but it's not like a...
You can put a briefcase in there full of cash, 80s
Right.
style.
Exactly. Whereas the BRZ, though, you can get a full second set of tires and a jack and your helmet.
For a track
It was
day.
designed for a track day. It was
pretty amazing.
designed to do that.
Yeah.
So that's the thing. I mean, maybe you have your little autocross trailer, with your tires on it
Yeah.
and all your stuff, but
The BRZ is definitely a lot better at packaging,
exactly.
the way
exactly.
they designed it.
Fragile, and I mentioned fragile because the fiberglass stuff, like if you hit a deer,
Yeah.
I mean, you're done.
Yeah,
the whole car, I mean, the car could be totaled.
Yeah, because the cost of...
Obviously, a BRZ could be, if you hit a deer,
Right.
a BRZ's totaled. But I mean, like if you
Right.
could back into a pole and
Right.
total the,
Right, I'm sure the threshold is higher on the BRZ.
Yeah.
Because the parts availability, which is the next thing.
happens to be number 4.
And
right.
the cost.
Well, the weird thing about that is like something could happen to an Elise, and then you can go to the insurance adjuster, and they'll look up the parts, and they actually won't know what the prices are because they won't be listed. I mean, it's literally that kind of thing. Everything you do is going to be a hurdle,
Yeah.
right? There's always going to be something in front of you that's a pain in the ass in dealing with the Elise.
Right.
But
And
you know what? That's the trade-off.
I'm sure that when they do spare part runs for body panels and stuff on the Elise, they're probably not making the quantity that they would for a Toyota or a Subaru.
Right.
So the cost is going to be higher and the availability will be higher. Some stuff I'm sure has to come from England
Or Malaysia.
or Malaysia, that's right,
Or Japan.
or
I mean,
wherever. I don't
obviously
know, but it's not going to be quite as easy.
Right, exactly.
with.
And by you're on your own, I don't mean the community, because obviously the Lotus community it's the best thing about being in a community like a Lotus community where everybody helps each other.
Right.
They'll help you find parts, and there's places like Monkey Wrench Racing
Yeah.
that sells all the performance parts, but also other stuff.
Right.
But basically, by on your own means there's no dealer network.
There's
Or there's a
very
small one.
few dealers, and I don't think that they're doing so well. I mean, there's one in New Jersey near where I live that just closed recently.
It's not like the Evora's flying off the shelves.
Yeah, it's kind of a shame, but it's a little bit like you're driving around in a dead brand like a Saab, except it's not really dead. It's just,
Well,
you kind of have some of the same issues.
Yeah, exactly.
And I hope they'll stick around for a while in the States.
I know. Well, Lotus, it's really tricky. I mean, who knows what Lotus's next thing is going to be? I mean,
Yeah.
remember they showed all those cars in LA a couple of years ago, or in Paris,
Yeah,
and
things haven't gone so well since
things
then.
haven't gone so well. Yeah, that was all the the old CEO.
Yeah,
Now I think they're still trying to figure out what Lotus is going to be. Is it going to be
Right.
an engineering company,
Right.
and they're only going to do engineering and platforms and stuff for everybody else,
Right.
or are they going to produce cars still?
yeah. And
That's
what kind of
something-
cars? Are they going to build these enthusiast cars that are very bare bones, or are they going to build more GT cars
Right.
to compete with Porsche?
And is Proton going to put enough money into them to make them into a decent car company, or is somebody else going to buy them to put the money in? I mean, it would be great if you would see. Imagine if they ended up under Tata, so it would be Jaguar, Land Rover, Lotus.
It would be actually funny if Caterham bought Lotus.
That would be sick.
And
Yes,
I've heard,
exactly.
I've actually
Yeah,
read
yeah.
rumors, they're probably dated by now, of Caterham
Well-
getting their hands on the old Elise once it was phased out to continue it, like they did with the 7.
That's
I don't know
very
if that'll
interesting.
ever happen, and I could be
I
totally
mean,
out of date on that.
They did it with the 7, and they've been doing it for longer than the 7 was even in production.
Yeah,
So there you go.
yeah. Tony Fernandez he's working things over there.
I
So,
mean, if he could raise that kind of money to start a car company
Yeah.
or to keep that going, to build that into something that's, hey,
Well,
look,
we'll
whatever.
see what
more power
happens.
to him. Anyway, so that's it for us. It's all about you guys, and in the comments now, go to slashdrive.tv. We're going to have a poll up there.
yeah.
You could vote on all of the BRZ or that cars.
Tell us what you would do.
Yeah, what would you do? Really, that's what this thing is about. It's really about what you would do. We're just wasting time.
Right.
So now, comment below or at Drive on Twitter and Facebook.com/DriveTV, where the conversation never ends. And that's it for BRZ or that. Ian, thanks for coming in.
No problem.
be
From
doing
behind the
this again.
camera.
Yeah, I know.
It's a
that
long
was
walk.
a long ass walk from behind the camera. All right, we'll see you guys next week on After Drive.